Hello, adventurers. Today, we're going to take a journey back in time to understand the importance of following God's commands. We'll learn about the history of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah and see what happened when they turned away from God. Let's begin. Before we start this story, let's retrace our steps back to the beginning of the King's Age in Israel. Saul was Israel's first king, but he was removed by God when he became disobedient. David was the second king of Israel, and he built the kingdom of Israel into a powerful nation. He established its capital in Jerusalem and laid the plans for building the temple. Solomon, David's son and the third king of Israel, built the temple, but in his later years, turned away from God to the idols of his many foreign wives and concubines. He also drove the Israelites hard and demanded much from them as he built the temple. Rehoboam, Solomon's son, was even harsher to the people, and 10 northern tribes rebelled and established Jeroboam as their king. And so, the kingdom of Israel split into two kingdoms: the southern kingdom, or Judah, with Jerusalem as its capital, and comprised mostly of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, and the northern kingdom, or Israel, with Samaria as its capital, and comprised of the other 10 tribes. Judah had a mix of good and bad kings. Israel had all bad kings who disobeyed God, worshipped false gods, and generally led the northern kingdom into chaos. There were many prophets who tried to bring God's message to both Judah and Israel, with only limited success. Now we find ourselves at a crucial moment. Hoshea is the last king of Israel. He was a bad king and didn't follow God, but he wasn't quite as bad as the others who came before him. The king of Assyria began to attack Israel and eventually overtook Samaria, carrying away many of the people of Israel to Assyria. The king of Assyria then brought people from other countries to settle around Samaria, causing the people left in Israel to lose their identity. Even though the people of Israel still worshipped God, they also worshipped the gods of the people who came to live in their land. Eventually, they barely resembled the nation established by God through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. To this day, Israel, or the northern kingdom, is referred to as the 10 lost tribes of Israel, because after the Assyrian captivity, those 10 tribes completely intermixed with other nations and ceased to exist as a nation. They were wiped off the map as a nation because of God's judgment. In the New Testament, this intermixed group is known as the Samaritans. They were greatly disliked by the Jews, those from the southern tribe of Judah, and were thought of as half-breeds. Remember the story of Jonah? Jonah hated the Ninevites, but was called to preach a message of judgment to them. Nineveh was a major city in Assyria. The king at the time repented and decided to follow God, but it wasn't long after that they changed their minds and attacked Israel. But Israel wasn't the only kingdom that disobeyed God. Judah also disobeyed and was captured by a foreign kingdom, this time by Babylon about 150 years later. Josiah was one of the last good kings of Judah. After him came kings who led Judah astray. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, attacked Jerusalem. He took control and made the king of Judah his subject. Later, Nebuchadnezzar attacked again, took the king away to Babylon, and removed everything valuable from the temple. He took almost everyone from Jerusalem to Babylon, except the poorest people. Nebuchadnezzar installed a new king in Jerusalem, but this king rebelled. Nebuchadnezzar's army besieged Jerusalem for a year and a half, until it was in a state of crisis with no food. Finally, the Babylonian army broke through the walls, ransacked the city, destroyed the temple and the royal palace, and carried away all the people of Jerusalem to Babylon, except the poorest of the poor. The stories of Israel and Judah teach us the importance of following God's commands. When the people turned away from God, they faced destruction and captivity. These stories remind us to trust and obey God no matter what. What can we learn from the mistakes of Israel and Judah today?